I was like, you know what? I ask every time, and he's always recording, so I'm not even going to ask.
I did not turn it on this time. Now we're rolling there.
You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Heyo, with your friends at Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. We're back with more. My name's Jordan Lowe.
Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth.
June already.
Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Happy June. Happy Pride Month. We're very prideful.
Very prideful.
Happy summer movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our little. I checked right before I came out here and was just looking at the download numbers and our little episode of the box office summer predictions is one of our most downloaded episodes in the last probably 3 months.
Oh, yeah.
You can always count on that Jesse bump. All Jesse's
yeah.
pals are going to listen to that.
Oh, when I come up with an idea to do, and I want to spice it up, make it look like it was all about my idea, I just invite Jesse. Yeah, I'll give you the updated box office here. As of today, this is the weekend right as Spider-Verse is coming out. So no numbers on it yet, but it's projected to do pretty well, a little better than we were expecting. Good for you, Cliff. You had it at number 2 on your list. So
better than you were expecting.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The other 3 of us were had it down a little lower.
It's too early to trash talk.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to get it in while I
Go
can.
for it. I'll try to drag it out of you. Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, as of now, has made $312.5 million domestically. And Little Mermaid, about 145. Fast X, 120. The rest of them are a bunch of fluff that aren't going to be there at the end. But
So anything over 1 or 120 you think's got a real good chance of being top 10? Could
be. I don't know. There's a ton of stuff coming out. Ton of stuff, a lot of controversy. Because, heck, we still got Spider-Verse here this weekend. We got Flash coming. We got Indy. We got something else. Transformers. That's just this month. And then getting into July, we're going to have
Barbie.
Mission Impossible, Barbie, Oppenheimer. There was a little bit of controversy with I think Tom Cruise just realized that there was a problem. He's been holding this movie back. He got it, in sock drawer, just like he held Top Gun. That worked out, exceptionally. Except he's held this, he put it out. He's putting it out now. He sees, wait a minute. The week after I release this movie, Oppenheimer comes out and is going to take all my IMAX screens. There's only so many IMAX screens. And honestly, I'm irritated because I was going to watch it in IMAX when I went to Indianapolis a couple weeks after it comes out. But I don't think it's going to be Oppenheimer on those screens. So
all I know is
he's going around personally to places showing them the movie, trying to get them to keep it in IMAX longer and stuff. I'm always amazed by his enthusiasm to follow through on this stuff. So hopefully for me, he will keep it on them big screens so I can get to a big city and watch it on one.
All I know is every time I pull up my TikTok app, I get an Oppenheimer commercial for the first several seconds that I can't get rid of.
Right. Well, they don't know that they are advertising the wrong person. But Cliff's probably not going to see Oppenheimer.
That's
true. The algorithm is wrong.
Yeah, TikTok is for people with very short attention spans. So that I don't see a 3-hour Oppenheimer for the TikTok generation.
Right. I did had another question if we were going to do a Yeah, You Know Me. You down with KPP?
Yeah, you know me.
What the hell is wrong with you people?
What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
You don't know how it feels to be me. If you don't know me by now.
Why are you the way that you are?
Let's do it.
I don't know. Let's see exactly how to word this. What if you could only keep one movie moment? One movie moment to define as your favorite movie moment or the most important movie moment to you. Everything else is gone. It can be, I'm saying it doesn't have to be like a screen cap. It can be an actual thing that happens in a few seconds or whatever, this moment of something happening or something beautiful on the screen or whatever.
Wow.
A little time to ponder this.
Yeah, that's tough. I feel very put on the spot with that one.
Well, I had more time to think about it than you, so I will go first. I actually found a trend as I started thinking about it and realized there's a certain thing that I like that stands out in like some of my favorite movie moments. I don't know if I call it a trope, but it's a thing that happens in a lot of movies, and I always find it exhilarating. I always love it. And when someone, because I kind of came up with what mine was, and I was like, wait a minute, I like this and this and this and this. When someone leaps into something or leaps off of something when they are going for it, just caution to the wind, I'm going for it. And some examples of that, well, I recently rewatched Spider-Verse, and just the proverbial leap of faith is such a great moment. You know, the music kicking in, the world upside down as he's falling is great. And thought of like Walter Mitty, the one with Ben Stiller when they're playing Space Odyssey, jumps up into the helicopter, and Cap with no chute in Winter Soldier. Indiana Jones doing the, jumping out on that bridge when he can't even see it.
Mm-hmm.
In Last Crusade, The Fugitive, the Harrison Ford jump. Jeff Who Lives at Home when he jumps off the bridge at the end, running across the bridge. I mean, one of my favorite movies because of that moment. But the
best moment of the original Shazam movie too is him jumping off the roof.
Right.
Hit lightning and go. Yeah.
That stuff, I love all that. The one that came to my mind that I picked as my movie moment is Point Break. Up in the plane, Keanu Reeves grabs the revolver and jumps out of the plane with no chute. And I'll never forget the feeling when the first time I saw that. I was like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. Just that jumping out of a plane without a chute is like, that's the ultimate leap of faith. And I was like, that's the moment that I am most connected to, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, this is a real tough question. Like, only one thought comes to mind, and I've actually written a whole essay about this before. Which, if you go to my website,
oh my gosh,
lowwords.wordpress.com, it's on there. It hasn't been updated in 5 years, but that's on there. I gotta say, the last scene in Barton Fink by the Coen brothers. When I saw that was the summer I was going through and renting. It was probably 2000. They did the AFI top 100 films of all time, and like I was going to the video store like a fiend trying to catch up on all these classic movies. And I had also just taken an accounting class because I was majoring in business, and I hated it. I didn't understand it. I bombed it. I was afraid I had failed it, and I was like so stressed out about it and what I was doing with my life. And the afternoon I got my report card in the mail. I had been watching Barton Fink, and when that movie ended, he's sitting on the beach. He's got a little box wrapped up in brown paper, and it's like, it's weird, and it's deep, and it's artistic, and it's beautiful, and like, I had a moment of like, I don't care about accounting at all. Accounting means nothing to me. Like,
Right.
art. I want to make art. I want to be around art. I want to, art is more important to me than accounting. And I had a very profound
An epiphany
viewing
here.
experience with that. It's not the best movie ever made, but it imprinted on me so deeply just because of the time and what was going on in my life that, it did a number on me.
That's the kind of answer I was looking for, Cliff. No pressure.
Oh my God. I don't know. I mean, my first thought is very cliche, and it's my favorite movie. It's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and it's Cousin Eddie out there emptying his chemical toilet in the storm sewer.
Oh.
But I mean, there are other moments I love.
Is there any certain Star
probably,
Wars moment?
There a lot comes to mind. Christmas Vacation when he's karate chopping in the front yard, karate chopping the reindeer. I love that. I still laugh 40 years later every single time, or 35 years later every single time.
Right.
I so many moments in that movie, but yeah, there's Star Wars stuff too. I love when I love the line Han gives, and I repeat it a lot, when he's fighting with Leia as they're trying to escape, and he screams at her, "There's no time for committee," and she says, "I'm not a committee," and I just always love that line. It's a great moment of writing in a bunch of movies that aren't famous for great lines of writing. And I'm sure there's probably something in like A Christmas Story. I love Christmas movies. I've talked about that.
Oh yeah.
But when after the mom breaks the leg lamp and they all rush in, as she says she's was just trying to water the plants or something, and the old man says, "Get the glue." And that's just that is a favorite line. That might be one of my wife's favorite lines in any movies. But that's a great moment. Gosh, I don't know. I guess
what was Cooper up on the seat cheering to? Was there any great
that was
moment
another
there?
Christmas movie. That was Elf. At the end of Elf, when they're in the park and the crowd and everybody starts to sing Santa Claus is coming to town, I think, and he stood up at 4 years old, 3 or 4, I think he was 4, and stands up on a seat and starts singing with them, and that, things like that's a great moment for us, but that we'll always remember. But I don't know that I've ever really ranked things like that before, but I'm sure Christmas Vacation is probably going to be the top of the list somewhere for me.
That's perfectly plausible. It's something that brings you joy every time you hear it.
Never gets old.
Good stuff. Now you know us.
He's looking at his notes. He's got something there.
What are we moving on to?
Whatever you want.
Let's talk comics.
How can you read this? There's no pictures.
Well, some people use their imagination.
Well, I must hurry back to my comic book store where I dispense the insults rather than absorb them.
It happens all the time. Read a comic book, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Not a whole lot going on in the industry, but a couple real big stories just broke this week. Number one being that Image Comics is leaving Diamond Distributors. This is not a rerun. I've done this story several times for many different companies. Since March 2020, Diamond shut down all production and basically halted the comic industry unilaterally, and from that's where the first domino fell. Then the whole industry has completely changed since then. So from June, so it was March 2020, Diamond shut down, then DC left. And in June of that year, Image publisher Eric Stevenson sent out a memo to creators that got leaked to the press where he called that move a sociopathic decision. That DC leaving Diamond was sociopathic. And here we are a couple of years later, and Image has done the exact same thing. So Diamond has now lost 84% of their comics periodical business. So that's a lot. They are still the wholesaler. So if you're just a small shop or you've been around for 50 years and don't want to change anything, you can still get these, everything but DC, you can wholesale through Diamond, where you'll pay a little more, but you can still, they will process all your shipments and everything. They'll be the middleman that does it. So 84% is a little misleading, but it's not far off. They've lost an awful lot. So they tried to diversify in the last couple of years and do more game, their alliance, game distributors. They started the grading company where they grade comics and cards and action figures. They've gone into more of the digital space, doing the pull box service and like all these different things. So I don't know if they knew the writing was on the wall or were just trying to be a little ahead of the game, but they've they've tried to diversify away from being where they were the monopoly. They were the only place in the country to order comics from. And in just a couple short years, they are a shell of their former selves. So
that's too bad.
Yeah,
what a shame. That's
that
a shame.
Reeks of desperation. I'm gonna do this. No, we're gonna do this. No, we're gonna go over here and yeah. Grasping at straws. That. How long do we think they'll be able to sustain that?
I was reading some things that were saying it's not as bad as it looks, where their deal, this wholesale deal, actually gives them a better profit margin than doing it all themselves, and they can slim down and still weather the storm. We'll see. They are left. So Diamond, their two biggest publishers they have left as exclusives are Boom and Dynamite. So Boom goes to Dynamite. That's Boom does Power Rangers, that Berserker comic with Keanu Reeves. So they've got some big hits. Dynamite has a lot of licensed stuff, Red Sonja, books like that, Vampirella, but they're just not. They're not powerhouse publishers.
Yeah. Ain't none of that Batman, that's for sure.
Yeah. But they've got Archie, Valiant, Aftershock, Titan. So a couple of mid-tier things. And then they've tried to, there's some new publishers that have just started in the past year or so that they've really tried to elevate. Ablaze, Opus, whatnot. They've moved them to the front of the catalog. Like they're trying, hey, these are big deals, but they just haven't quite caught on. So that splits it up that way. So Diamond has Boom and Dynamite. Penguin has Marvel, IDW, and Dark Horse. And then Lunar has DC and Image. Plus some small Vault and Oni, Mad Cave, a few smaller ones like that. But so Lunar are also the ones who started the Tuesday thing, where their new DC comics come out on Tuesday. So now it's going to be DC and Image come out on Tuesday. Everything else comes out on Wednesday. So they're making it way more complicated for New Comic Day. And Lunar being owned by the same company that owns DCBS, the online mega retailer that offers comics online at a huge discount. So that's a real sticking point with some retailers. They find them to be, I don't want to order comics from my direct competitor, which I view it as, Amazon's a competitor too. I can't, we're not going to take on Amazon. What's the difference? But there are some people who that's a red line that they
it's
won't
like taking
cross.
on Dog Man.
Right. So who knows? That Image was the biggest. That's every news thing that came out. It was bad news for Diamond. Well, Image still have Image. They're hanging on to Image. So without Image, I don't know what that means. It could be Could be curtains, or it could, who knows? And now it might spur competition and innovation, and might change the whole spectrum. Who knows?
So, what are your thoughts on the having a Tuesday and Wednesday new comic book day?
I don't like it.
Does it? Okay, I didn't know whether there was any positive if that drove any more people on another day.
Well, there is a positive because Tuesdays used to be completely dead. Now they're only kind of dead. Because there are people who will come in on Tuesday and then not for a whole rest of the week. Or there's even a couple people who sometimes come in both Tuesday and Wednesday, but that's rare. Sure. But it is just sort of having to get, and places that have, employees or bigger staffs or whatever, it's, you have to process 3 different shipments. So it used to be, you got your staff there on Tuesday, you paid everybody to be there on Tuesday to process the shipment. Well, now you got to have somebody there Monday and Tuesday, and then, Lunar might come in on Thursday. So it makes it a headache receiving things and having to go through, break down the shipments and figure out the pull list and do it, instead of doing it all at once. It's a little harder.
Right.
But they have announced the discount, which might be a problem for me. Because this begins in September. So September through December, you're just going to get whatever discount you had at Diamond, you'll get that for Image. But they're setting their discount plateau. Like DC, I have to order X amount of DC books to get a 50% discount. And I hit that number pretty well. It's never a problem.
Right.
But it's the same number for Image. And I don't order anywhere near the amount of Image books that I do for DC. So if I don't hit that plateau, I'm only getting a 40% discount, meaning I make 10% less on every book I sell, which then spirals. I'm going to order less. If I'm making less money, I'm going to order fewer books, which means my plateau is even smaller. So I don't know. I'm going to have to look at the numbers and see if I have anywhere chance of making the normal discount that I get, or I might just be in for a hurt and get a little squeezed on the profit margins from Image, maybe.
Luckily, you didn't want to be around numbers as art.
See, that's what I thought I had made my decision. The accounting always comes back to haunt you.
Oh, well, yeah. You've missed some other big comic news today. Jeez, I said I woke up. First thing I saw was they announced that. Well, I saw last week that all of a sudden Lansing and Kelly, the Cap writers that been going for the last year, are moving on and they're getting somebody else. But they announced it was JMS Straczynski. So at least that's a name. It's a potential top talent on a Steve book that So I'm hyped to check that out in September. I read that first issue of that new Avengers thing. I can't remember who was writing it, but anyway,
it was Jed McKay.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah, but I really liked it. I read it and I really liked the cover by Eminem, and so I'm gonna pick it up a little bit to see how it goes. Definitely, I did not like Aaron's run. Did not like it.
The stuff with having the Phoenix and the Ghost Rider and the Dead Celestial,
Hated
that just
it.
Didn't feel like Avengers to me.
It did
that
not.
wasn't what I wanted from Avengers.
Yeah, and this was another classic gathering the team issue, which I love those. So yeah, I mean it's not the lineup I would have picked, but I don't dislike it, and the other one was just so much stuff, and I didn't need Blade, and I don't care about Ghost Rider. It's not my Avengers. So at least this is closer to what I want.
Yeah, I felt like he definitely had a handle on the characters, their motivations, like who they were. Like there were some good pages about the Vision and
yeah.
So it was,
Vision and Scarlet Witch in there and stuff. That's good. I'm a little excited about the comics that are important to me, and we've had Saga going, still coming out, and then I've actually been reading a bunch of Batman recently. I have collected some trades over the last couple of years. Was trying to read like a chronological thing, and got back to it and was reading a few things. So enjoying that. Went trying to see what it was that I read recently since I brought it up here.
I was just gonna say, talking to newer stuff. I haven't read them yet, but Jordan hooked me up with these awesome
Ewoks.
Yeah, these 40th edition for Jedi, but the covers were just, there's a Java one there, but sticking it up in the camera, but the covers were just freaking awesome. I love that Ewok cover.
Cool. Are they good?
I haven't read them yet. They've been sitting here on the desk, and I haven't been out here to actually go through them yet. So,
yeah, I had picked this back up and started reading. I read some trade that people said was a important Batman thing was it's a JLA trade called Tower of Babel.
Mm-hmm.
That was where Batman has a plan to how to take out everybody in the Justice League. Is this a very pre-identity crisis, so he, and they're like, when they find out, can they trust him? Well, no. The answer is no.
Because Batman.
So it was pretty good. And then I finally got around to starting Gotham Central. I love Brubaker and, Rucka, and I was like, I've been holding it till I got there in the timeline. So I got to read the first trade, which was really, really good stuff. Just like it all follows the major crimes unit of Gotham and of quite a swath of, of cops. Like, it's almost hard to keep track of how many characters there are. And
with them being just plainclothes police officers, like it's a little hard to. It's like Walking Dead at points where like there's
they put a thing at the beginning, like identifying all of them and their jobs, and so that helps. And who their partner is and everything. So they try to help you, but you just get little bits of Batman. It honestly was like it immediately made me like, yeah, I'd rather hear about these guys than Batman. And then I went back and then I read Hush because it was Hush time in the timeline. I'm like, oh man. I forgot how much I liked Hush. Like, it was really good. It's so gorgeous. And I always think, was this overhyped every time? Every time I go back. No, I really like it. It's just so pretty. Then I stopped for a second, reread Daredevil Born Again. I hadn't read it for years. I wanted to prepare for this show that's now may never come because of the writer's strike. That's great stuff. Then read Batman Death and the Maidens, which was kind of hyped, but was just ended up being a decent Ra's al Ghul story. Then I got to book 2 of Gotham Central, which is super great, and I'm loving it. And the last thing I read recently was I had never read Contest of Champions, Super Secret Wars Light, basically, is what it felt like. It's a 3-issue, get all the heroes together and split them into teams for the Grandmaster and Death to play a game. And there was things I liked. There's some panels that I thought were cool looking, but it was pretty milk toast.
Yeah, I never read that one either, but I'm guessing it's a little dated.
Yeah. But comics.
So the other big news this week was a death in Marvel that somehow got spoiled way earlier than anticipated.
Right.
So it ended up not being a shock to anybody. The death of Ms. Marvel. Kamala Khan was killed in issue 26 of Amazing Spider-Man by Zeb Wells and John Romita Jr. The solicitations of that one, the cover had, quote, the most shocking issue of Amazing Spider-Man in 50 years. And then it got leaked on the internet and it was not the most shocking. So it was like the news, there were grainy photos of this leaked like a week before people at Marvel even had their production copies. So this wasn't it hadn't shipped yet. I didn't even know when it was printed, but it wasn't a retailer. It wasn't somebody in the supply chain. So nobody knows who leaked this, and whether it was because that kind of LOL, Ms. Marvel sucks kind of deal, or it was a how dare they kill this important character that I love. So we don't know the motivation for the leaking or who leaked it, but it got leaked. She's dead. It was a decent story. The story leading up to it has been kind of dumb. There's this weird guy who worships some god. It's like a god of mathematics. He has all these formulas and stuff. It's all going back to math. But like, if he kills Peter Parker, the formula is complete and he rules the world or the universe or whatever. So they switch to this other dimension where time moves differently. So they realize, oh no, if he kills Pete, everything's over. So Mary Jane shoves him back through the portal and locks it behind them so that Peter is safe and Mary Jane is stuck in this other dimension. So Peter, knowing time is moving quickly, has no time to waste. He has to gather all this technology to save the day. And, it takes him a day to put the machine together and save her. And in his day, like, years have passed in Mary Jane's world. So this is where these kids show up that were in the first issue of Spider-Man that nobody knew what happened. Mary Jane had a new fella and some adopted kids and had kind of moved on with her life in this other dimension. So that whole storyline has been playing out for several issues. And then in the finale to it, Mary Jane turns out to be the key. And if he kills Mary Jane, he'll rule the universe. So Kamala used her shape-shifting abilities and basically became Mary Jane to trick him. And so the whole issue, you think Mary Jane's going to die, and they think because someone in this issue is going to die. So if you didn't know, it would have been a good twist. So he kills the wrong person, thus saving the universe, but killing Ms. Marvel. So it was a heroic sacrifice. It saved the universe. But she has a movie coming out in November, so no one thinks this is a permanent thing.
Right, yeah.
So who knows? The biggest rumor about this being in the current X-Men books, they have a way to bring people back from the dead. So if someone resurrects Kamala... Is this a
Krakatoa or whatever?
Yes, Krakoa. That would make her possibly a mutant, where she is an Inhuman now in the comics.
Nice.
We could maybe retcon and say, wait a minute, she was a mutant the whole time.
Mutants are way cooler.
Just like in the Disney series. So she's not...
Right.
Forget the Perlmutter Inhuman era. Now she's a mutant. And continuity all lines up spiffy. So that is the rumor, why they did it. But I don't, that's a lot of hoopla just to make her like she is in the show that nobody really is that worried about. But
I'm a fan of these character deaths, honestly. I like them. So when I heard about this, I was like, ooh, I wonder was interested to hear how it went down, because sometimes they come up with a cool thing. That's pretty cool. I would like, I wonder how, execution is what it's all about, but they're fun.
I think it would have been a really good story had I not known. Yeah. Knowing what was coming lessened it quite a bit.
That's the problem. Yeah. That reminds me, I still have not been spoiled for whatever. I told you guys I heard there was a huge spoiler for Flash, and I warned everybody. I'm warning you, there's some huge spoiler. Everybody said that Machete was doing an interview, and that he thought this was an interview for after Flash comes out, and he spilled the beans on something, and Variety and other places immediately ran with it and posted it. They don't care if they spoil anything. Somehow I've not been spoiled yet. Jordan, how long did you make it after my warning?
Immediately. Like that night. And I am not on Twitter or TikTok, or I'm not on one of these places. Just the stupid old Facebook.
That's funny.
All right, so I'll give you a couple quick recommendations for some recent books that have been coming out. My favorite book recently is Fantastic Four, just rebooted by Ryan North and Eben Coella. Ryan North is the writer of Squirrel Girl, which I loved, but I didn't know if it was because of the character, the writing, like, okay, was Ryan North really this good of a writer? Yes, he is. He's been excellent at Fantastic Four as well. It just hit the legacy number of 700. He's a really smart guy, and he's put a lot of strange science. So it's been a real sciencey science fiction book, and it's really clever. I really enjoyed it recently. Guardians of the Galaxy just rebooted. The Cap writers, Kelly and Lansing, moved over to Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's very much a Western, lawless, outer rim planets, like trying to keep the law. And there's something on the way called Grootfall. Groot is back to his planet conquering ways. He's not friendly anymore. So they are going to eventually, they're trying to like evacuate these planets before Groot arrives and colonizes the whole place. So a little different twist if you're in the mood after watching the movies. Marvel just got the license to Planet of the Apes back. Launched a new series, and it's set in the continuity of the recent film trilogy. So this is right after they had the anti-Alzheimer thing leaked or whatever that caused the monkeys to get smart and to kill off humans. So this is as that's happening in the middle of this pandemic where people are freaking out, and there's these groups forming like, we got to kill all the monkeys. And then there are these scientists like, we need monkeys to like test this stuff and cure this disease.
Let's kill them slowly.
All monkeys is good monkeys. Or all dead monkeys. Only good monkeys a dead monkey. I'll get it right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the standard Charlton Heston version, but it's been pretty good too. And then DC is doing their Dawn of DC initiative. So this is after the big Dark Crisis blew everything up and ended the Justice League. And then the Lazarus Planet had a volcano of Lazarus Pit magic explosion that blanketed the earth and messed up magic, and gave some new people powers and mutated some other people's powers. So in the wake of these two big events, we're doing Dawn of DC. There's a bunch of new number 1 issues. They didn't like change continuity. It's not a reboot or anything, but it's just good jumping on points, and it's been good stuff. So Superman and Action got new creative teams. Cyborg got a new series. Tom King's relaunching Wonder Woman. We're getting a Hawk Girl. They're trying to make Titans the basically flagship book because the Justice League is gone. So these former sidekicks, the Titans, are now, okay, your time. It's your turn to be in charge. So
it's only been like 70 years. Now it's your turn.
So this classic Titans lineup are now the pinnacle of DC. I got a new Green Arrow book, new Green Lantern book, where Hal and John Stewart are quarantined on Earth. A new Shazam book by the world's finest team of Mark Waid and Dan Mora. It's just kind of fun, all ages. Unstoppable Doom Patrol got a book where this Lazarus Planet has created a bunch of new metahumans. So here's the Doom Patrol going out like old school X-Men, like trying to help these people. All the misfits, if you got mutated and look weird and don't understand your powers, the Doom Patrol's trying to help these characters. So that's a perfect use of the Doom Patrol property.
Yeah.
So yeah, good. DC's, if you're curious of any of that stuff, there's a lot of good places to hop aboard on DC. But my big recommendation is not that. It's a Black Label book. Peacemaker Tries Hard. So we got a Peacemaker 6-issue miniseries, Kyle Starks and Steve Pugh, and it feels a lot like the show. Like the humor that they get away with on HBO somehow is translated onto the page pretty well. Like the way they write his dialogue sounds like it's coming out of
John Cena's
mouth, and it's really well written, really dirty, and really funny, and I've enjoyed it so far.
Do we get some Judo Master?
Not yet.
Oh man.
But yeah, the idea he's basically finally free of the Suicide Squad. He's like, I'm going to be a superhero now, and he's just not good at it. So it's him trying to go straight and be a true blue superhero, and that's not what he's built for.
You mentioned Fantastic Four a few minutes ago, And have you guys seen the latest, so-called leaked cast with Adam Driver, and, Margot Robbie, and Daveed Diggs as the Thing, which might be the most interesting.
Who was Johnny?
That was.
I remember thinking it was okay.
Paul Mescal.
Oh, but yeah, he's a good actor.
So I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with them. So I mean, these are all good actors that might be able to do something special, but I'm picturing them as themselves acting. And I'm like, how is he Reed Richards? Like, come on.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I'm not underestimating him because I think he's a really good actor and could do something. But usually the things he does that I like are not. That's a big stretch.
Stretch.
So yeah, I don't know. It's got a sounds better than the Seth Rogen rumors.
I don't know. That didn't bother me that much. I felt like all this hype for this new DC, and I'm like, if I thought what I really wanted was Nobody's, that he creates some new stars that were perfect for the role. This casting established people that I can't see in the role is tough for me. But I'll give him a chance. I'll give it a chance.
Somebody told me the director didn't think it was fair. There were 3 men, only 1 woman, and there was some rumor they were going to make Thing female.
I think I had seen an article or two about that.
And somebody said they heard Mila Kunis was at the top of the chart for the role. I was like, let's double check the sources on that.
That was interesting. I don't know. It's like I get all that, having to update things, but then it's like you also would just we're just freaking hungry for one good version of the Fantastic Four. It's like it ain't ever gonna happen.
That's all I got for comic books.
Yeah, me too.
You want to do any TV stuff? Watched anything? I just mentioned it before we started, but I just finished that last episode of Dave, season 3. Yep. And
I watched it.
Wow. I was not expecting that.
Another one I'm glad I didn't get spoiled on.
Yes, me too. Because I've just been watching it casually as I had time, and I haven't had a lot of time, and I was just sitting there tonight, and I thought, man, I'm going to get caught up a little bit on this, and I was not prepared for that episode.
Well, the last time we talked about it, we were joking about the quality of guest stars on season 1 versus the big stars on season 3. Like, I don't know, how does he know all these people or get all these people to work there?
Right. Yeah, it was good. It's good. That's probably it's still probably my least favorite season, but I still like it. I mean, it's still good. Still better than a lot of stuff.
That's right.
So I definitely love the show.
I really thought there at the end they really kind of, like they do, brought it all right back around and connected it all and into the bigger story. And I thought, man, that's pretty great. So
yeah,
fun.
The only other different thing I think I've watched is that new show on Apple TV Plus, Platonic. Speaking of Seth Rogen. It's the old team of Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne.
Okay.
Family movie night, guys. Oh, whoa.
What?
Will's getting a divorce.
So call him.
We literally haven't spoken to each other in years.
Call him. That's what friends do. Hey!
How are you?
Great. How are you?
How's the beer business?
I'm actually the brewmaster at my own bar now.
Congratulations.
You still got that family of yours?
You want to see a photo?
Wow, there they are. Cool. What are you up to?
Oh, life is my life!
So, lunch?
No,
Brunch?
no. I don't have time for this.
Can't be friends with a girl.
There's lots of famous men and women friends. Laura Dern and Sam Neill in Jurassic Park.
Your friendship with Will is not built for this phase of life.
Oh, geez.
This is how a woman experiences a midlife crisis.
You're like a couple of teenage girls. Your whole thing is so weird and destructive.
Can you believe she said we were destructive?
No, we're exactly the opposite.
We are constructive.
We're constructive.
I don't like feeling like the second most important man in your life.
It's embarrassing being a mess in front of you. And Will's a much bigger mess than I am.
All I want is for you to end up happy, you idiot!
Well, I am happy. I've never been happier in my life. Send me the invoice.
Break out of your box. Do a little nose candy with us. Did they have CK back in the day? Just like a mild horse tranquilizer.
It's a horse tranquilizer?
You can't blow it out. It's already in the brain.
In my defense, I thought it was cocaine.
And just so I'm clear, that's your defense.
The defense rests.
And they used to be friends with, the long-waged argument of can men and women be friends without there being sexual tension or something? Do they have to want to sleep together? And how basically in reality they're just like couples couple up and the guy talks to the guy and the girl talks to the girl, and it doesn't totally happen like that, but you don't spend time just the two of you freely going to do things. It just doesn't happen. And at least in the world of the show, and there are of course exceptions in real life, but that's the bit of the show, and they kind of get back hanging out, and just it is a platonic relationship, and they're kind of funny together. It hasn't blown me away or anything, but there's been 4 episodes I think so far, and it's totally fine. If you enjoy watching them, it's fine.
Yeah. So you're sticking with the Apple Plus?
I had like 6 free months, so I'm still doing that.
Okay.
And I'll stop till I find some more free. It's not even real expensive anyway. I think it's like $5. So.
Yeah. I need to get signed back up again so I can watch that final season of Ted Lasso that just ended. So I haven't got into that yet.
Yeah. No hurry.
Well, I snuck through the gate was shutting on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I snuck under it, grabbed my hat, and pulled it out. So I signed into my stolen Netflix account, and it said, Netflix is for people who live in your home. Prove that you're living in this home. I was like, uh-oh. So I clicked continue, and it was like, register or not now. I'm like, hold on. So I clicked not now, and it just let me in. So I'm like, sure, Netflix, I'll let you know real soon.
I'm sure they'll never bring that up again. They're like, oh, so, he'll let us know when he's ready. Yeah.
This is the honor system. So I went ahead and binged it all in one night just in case. Season 3 of I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson, the sketch comedy show, has just dropped. 6 episodes like the other seasons, but they're only about 15 minutes apiece, so it's a real quick view. Really funny. A lot of guest stars again this season. Will Forte, Fred Armisen, Sam Richardson, Beck Bennett, Tim Heidecker, Tim Meadows, Jason Schwartzman, and of course, Biff Whiff.
Biff Whiff's sick. I just saw this week. He's dying of something.
No. Get as much Biff Whiff as you can.
Yeah.
So this show's not for everyone. I was reading a comment section today that was like, this isn't funny. It was like, yes, it is. And they were arguing.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's totally funny. It's like, no, it's not. It's like, how do you... Comedy is very subjective.
I'm not laughing.
Yeah, lots of screaming and guttural noises and silliness, but I liked it a lot. My favorite couple skits they do, he's on a dating show like a bachelor type show, and they're worried he's only there for the zip lining because like he won't do any of the activity. He just keeps going on the zip line. It's like he doesn't go to the meals, he doesn't go on the dates. He's just there to zip line.
Can't do that.
So there's some good stuff there on the Netflix.
That's funny. Oh well. I think we did it.
Watch the Being Mary Tyler Moore documentary.
Oh, not yet. I just noticed it was there.
Mm-hmm.
HBO or Max or whatever you call it now. Pretty good. 2 hours just tracing her history. I didn't know all. I mean, multiple marriages and alcoholism, but it doesn't like delve into this is the dark side of Mary Tyler Moore.
Yeah.
It's basically, it's interesting where like, you know, the character she's famous for, Mary Richards being this single go-getter of a woman, like she was never that. She got married at like 20, had kids young. Like she was never the go-go career gal, but like that's what she's iconic for in America.
Right.
But it's pretty interesting. Peek behind the scenes, a lot of her off the cuff interviews and stuff. So it was worth a watch for sure.
Have you guys noticed any difference in that Max from HBO Max or anything?
There's a whole lot of garbage on there that I will never watch. Kind of
just
cluttering
stuff I don't want.
I think the only thing I've really watched on there, we did watch Shazam Fury of the Gods one night. Carly wanted to watch it, and yeah, it's a movie. It's not real great. It just isn't. That guy that plays, what's his name? That plays Shazam.
Zachary Levi.
Zachary Levi is. I don't know. Maybe I got used to the suit. You know, nobody liked the suit because they said it looked fake and he was too big. But I liked the look of it. He looks real scrawny in this one and old, and he is by far the worst part of the movie. So there is some decent acting in it, but it's not him.
Yeah, I don't like him. Doesn't do it for me.
Very long to me, like the dragon showed up that was in all the trailers and stuff. I'm like, okay, this must be the end. And I looked and it was like an hour into the movie. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah. So that's about all I've watched on Max.
Yeah, I just have heard there's some performance issues and like their stuff doesn't look as good as it did on the previous app, and they need to straighten some of that stuff out. But all in all, I'm surprised the launch was successful, and I could not believe that they tried to do it the week of right before the Succession and Barry finales.
Yeah, like 2 days
they did
before.
this. Like, that is ballsy. And they pulled it off. People, I would have told you, I'd have bet money that Sunday at 9:00 it was going to crash, but it didn't.
Mine has been doing a thing where a couple times, like Shazam, maybe 3 or 4 times during the audio track will stay the same, but it starts like fast forwarding the video. So the video starts going, but the audio stay, and I've had to like stop it, go back out, reload it. That's happened on like 3 different things I've watched in the past week. So I don't know what's going on there.
Which I've totally forgot that this week, like you said, Ted Lasso, the end of the series finale, the series finale of Succession, the series finale of Barry. It's a lot of big shows that ended this past week. And all in all, you know, they were enjoyable. Succession was awesome. Barry was awesome. Didn't end quite how I would have done it for Barry, but what a series. I mean, just love that series.
Yeah, Alicia really likes Succession.
That is not a Cliff show.
No, I hated every episode. I hated every character, so I couldn't.
That's just that is not your style at all. But I really liked it.
Yeah, she loved it. She gave it high praise, and she has watched. I've seen her watch multiple episodes repeatedly over and over and over and over, and I'm like, oh my god, will this thing ever end? I think she watched it for 3 months straight, and I was just like, I got to the point where I couldn't even be in the same room as it.
The other prestige show that ended, you left out the Flash series finale. They were on CW.
Yeah, It's been so long.
Succession, Barry, Flash. That's right.
Yeah.
Right there.
I just you barely see the space between those.
Yep. So the Arrowverse is almost officially dead, as we know it.
And it didn't do anything. I don't want to spoil it. Anybody still hasn't seen the finale, but like it brought several of the villains back from throughout the series, but it didn't do, like I really assumed like Cisco would come back at least just for a cameo or something, or there'd be some tie to Supergirl or something to make this feel more momentous and kind of wrap up the CW, but it was just kind of its own little thing. It was a nice little heartwarming send off, but it didn't have any big feeling.
Yeah. That's a shame. It was a good show. I mean, it was. It just, like we've mentioned before, it became too much on that channel. Especially when you have a juggernaut like Riverdale to keep up with.
True. All right, we did it.
That's it for this week. We'll be back for more. My name's Jordan Luke.
Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. Bye forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast @gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, join our Patreon at patreon.com/udownwithkpp for special content and access to Patreon-only benefits. We are grateful for anyone who chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will remain free. So please continue to like, comment, and share.